think being a night security guard is boring. And they're right, until it isn't. Most nights, I sit in a small windowless room surrounded by 10 screens that loop the same dull footage. Empty corridors, shuttered stores, motionless escalators, and flickering fluorescent lights. It's like watching a ghost town through a dozen eyes. But one night last winter, I saw something on those screens that still wakes me up at 3 a.m. It was a Wednesday. Quiet. The cleaning crew had just finished the top floor, and I was alone in the control room, reviewing the previous day's recordings for a reported theft. Routine stuff. I was fast-forwarding through the timestamp, 2:47 a.m., when something on camera 7 made me stop. The shot showed the East Wing corridor, outside a small boutique that had been closed for months. But standing in the middle of the hallway was a woman. She wasn't moving, just standing there. Her back was to the camera, her long dark hair hanging down past her shoulders. At first, I assumed it was an employee, or maybe a cleaner who'd forgotten something. But her posture was strange, stiff like she was posed. I toggled the camera. No ID badge, no cleaning cart, just her, alone. And then I noticed something else. Her shadow wasn't lining up with the lights. There's a bright overhead strip right above that section, so shadows should fall straight down. But hers was angled, like the light source was coming from somewhere else entirely. I felt my stomach drop. I radioed the floor patrol. "Hey Rico, you near the East Wing?" Static. Then his voice. "Yeah, just passed through there." "Why?" I glanced back at the screen. The woman was gone. "I just saw someone standing by the boutique," I said. "Check it out." "Copy that." I watched his flashlight beam appear on the monitor, sweeping across the hallway where she'd been. Nothing. "Clear," he said after a minute. "Nobody here." But here's where it gets weird. When I reviewed the footage again the next morning, the woman wasn't there. Not blurred, not glitched. Gone. The file skipped from 2:46 to 2:48, like those few seconds never existed. I reported it to my supervisor, who brushed it off as a camera fault. But I knew that footage hadn't glitched. The timestamp was still clean, like something had cut out the recording manually. A week later, I saw her again. Same hallway, same time. But this time she was facing the camera. Her face was pale, too pale, washed out like overexposed film. Her eyes were just dark hollows, and her mouth hung open slightly like she was whispering something I couldn't hear. I leaned closer to the screen. Her lips moved again, slow and deliberate. 3 words. "He's behind you." I froze. My heart stopped. I turned, half expecting someone to be there, but the control room was empty. When I looked back at the monitor, she was gone again. The next morning, I tried to show the clip to my boss, but the footage, the entire file from that camera, had been overwritten. Automatic purge, they said. Except our system doesn't delete footage until 30 days pass. That file was less than 24 hours old. Rico quit that same week after saying he kept hearing footsteps behind him on patrol. I didn't blame him. The last time I saw her was a month later, during a live feed check. Only, it wasn't her standing in the hallway this time. It was me. Same uniform, same flashlight. I watched, horrified, as my double walked slowly toward the boutique door, paused, and turned toward the camera. My mouth moved. Same 3 words. "He's behind you." And then the screen cut to static. I checked the hallway seconds later. Nothing there. But when I returned to the control room, every monitor was frozen on the same frame. Me, facing the camera, smiling. The IT team replaced the entire system after that. But sometimes, when I look at the live feed, I still catch a flicker, like an image hidden between frames. And when the lights dim at 2:47 a.m., I never look directly at the east wing anymore. Because I know, one night, I'll see myself again. And this time, it won't just be on the screen. You get used to silence when you work night shifts. After midnight, the mall feels like a living thing that's fallen asleep. The air vents hum like slow breathing. Signs creak softly in the dark, and the echo of your own footsteps is sometimes enough to make your chest tighten. I started noticing it around my 3rd month at Riverside Mall. The intercom system, the one used for announcements, background music, and lost child alerts during the day, would sometimes click on by itself after hours. A soft, static hum. Nothing more. At first I assumed it was a glitch. The system's old, probably installed back when flip phones were still a thing. I reported it to maintenance twice, and they said it was likely interference from the cleaning crew's radios. But then, it started speaking. It was a Friday, just past 1 a.m. I'd done my second patrol and was back in the control room, sipping stale coffee and scrolling through security feeds on my monitor. The cleaning crew had left early because of a broken water pipe on level 1. I was the only one inside the building. That's when the intercom crackled. "Hello? Can someone—" Static. "Hear me?" It was faint, but human. A woman's voice. I froze. The speaker above my head buzzed softly, and I could almost feel the air vibrating. "Hello? Please, I'm locked in." I reached for the receiver. "Ma'am, this is security. Where are you located?" The reply came after a second of silence. I think I'm in the restroom near the food court. The lights went out. I can't see anything." I glanced at the camera grid. The feed for that corridor showed nothing. Total darkness. The motion sensors hadn't triggered either. "Stay calm," I said, standing up and clipping my flashlight to my belt. "I'll come get you. Don't move." I started down the service hallway, the sound of my boots echoing off the walls. As I passed the empty food court, I noticed how cold it had become. My breath was fogging up in front of me. The door to the women's restroom was closed. The light above it flickered weakly. I knocked. "Security! Are you in there?" No reply. I tried the door. It opened easily, too easily. And the smell that drifted out was like mildew and something metallic. The lights inside flickered in and out, throwing the stalls into brief slices of visibility. Empty. "Hello?" Then the intercom, the same one that had called me here, clicked on again. Only this time, it wasn't the ceiling speaker. It was coming from inside the restroom, from one of the stalls. The voice said, "You found me." And then, laughter. Not loud, not manic, just quiet, slow, and too close. I shone my light across the stalls one by one, the beam shaking in my hand. Each one was empty until I reached the last. The door was half open. The speaker for the mall's intercom system was lying on the floor inside, the wires snaking out from under it. Someone had removed it from the ceiling. I backed away, grabbed my radio. "Control to base. I need a camera check on Zone B restrooms." Now the operator's voice came back confused. "Zone B. That area's dark, man. Cameras have been off for over a week. Maintenance requested a power cut for rewiring." That's when I realized something else. The voice I heard earlier, it hadn't said, "the restroom near the food court." I replayed it in my head. It had said, "I'm in the one with mirrors." That's the restroom in the north wing, the one sealed off after the 2017 fire. I went back to the control room, shaking, and pulled the old blueprints. That restroom doesn't even have a working power line anymore. The